Hello, 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 and thank you for tuning in for another direct dose. So, today I want to talk about um, making yourself feel smaller to make someone else feel better about themselves. And, child, I have found myself in this situation unknowingly. And when I say unknowingly, I mean realizing it after the fact that I've already done it. So, um, if you have been a long time subscriber of my channel, then you just like all 33 of y'all, um, then you'll know that I was married. And in that, I had a podcast. Well, kind of like a cooking show with my ex partner. And so going back a little bit, the idea behind that show was initially I was given my own platform to do a podcast, recording studio, all that. And then I decided I wanted to have someone else join me, friend, comedian. If you check him out, comedian Chris Footman. You'll know it's him because there's a viral photo of him going around where he's like sitting on a toilet, hunched over, so his whole body is soaked. That's comedian Chris Footman. He's absolutely hilarious from South Carolina. Check him out. Um, so he and we had a show together, and that's how it started. And then he was like, well, let's add in the cooking element because my ex-husband was a cook. So we added that piece in, and then it ended up just being my ex-husband and I on the show. um, and then that went on from like 2018 to like 2020, so a good two-year run. um, and in that, like, again, you don't realize it in the moment, and it's when you come out of it sometimes that you realize, like, wait a minute, what was I doing to myself? So the thing that I was doing to myself that I didn't realize was I was making myself smaller to make someone else feel comfortable. And I realized it more so right before the pandemic happened, where there were changes within me, like, physical changes, right? I was exercising more. I was changing the way I ate, a variety of things. And that was when I started to make myself smaller because something was voiced to me about how they were starting to feel, about how he was starting to feel, and and how he started to see me. And I remember one time hearing him say, um, "You're losing all this weight. You're looking good, and I'm just here next to you looking like a bum." And that made me feel a way. It made me feel bad because I'm like, well, damn, this is my partner. Like, I don't want my partner feeling that way, right? Um, but it wasn't until, and then, that sense of guilt, I carried it, right? So I started feeling like I needed to make myself smaller in a sense. And I knew at the time, like, he had his own thing that he was building. So I kind of, it wasn't a conversation. And this is why I don't put the blame on him for this part. I kind of just took a back seat with the things that I was doing, right? Where, doing some modeling, doing all that, putting my photos out. I kind of just like, let me back up, let him get some light. Maybe that'll help him feel better. Again, never something he asked me for, something I chose to do. But in doing that, I didn't realize that I was making myself smaller to make someone else feel better about themselves. Self esteem is the esteem of yourself, right? No one's responsible for boosting your self esteem. And even if you are in a partnership or a marriage, it's great to encourage, but that doesn't mean you need to diminish yourself and who you are just to have the other person feel better. Because if that person is truly your partner, they wouldn't want that. And the moment that they see that, they're gonna call you on it. Like, hey, you slipping up. Like, what's going on? You were doing all this. Why are you stopping? You know? Um, but yeah, that was a really hard moment for me. Um, I think especially when I realized that that's what I do. Right? It wasn't, like I said, part of it was like, okay, let me take a step back, but I didn't realize the part of I'm doing this to make someone else feel better about themselves. All in all, to say, like, yo, check yourself, right? You shouldn't have, if you're ever in a situation where you feel like, oh, this person's not going to like me because I'm above here. And I've been in this situation numerous times, right? But I've been able to deal with it accordingly. You know, I've dated folks who have felt a ways about me or about maybe something I may have accomplished where I may not see it as like this ooh big thing, but they see it as like this big thing. Sometimes even a threat. Sometimes, um, but I've made it a point to not make it my problem. At that point, it's like, yeah, you gotta go. If you're going to try to make either a make me feel bad for the fact that I've accomplished these things, or b um, kind of guilt trip me for doing what it is that I'm doing, right? Or earning the things that I've earned, I want nothing to do with it anymore. And I encourage other people, like, yo, do not make yourself smaller to make someone else feel better about themselves. That is not your fucking job. Your job is to be the best you can be and be unapologetic about it. And if someone in your circle starts to make you feel that way, that's someone you need to remove from your circle. It's not easy. Trust me, I know. I've grieved many people that I've had to remove from my circle in the last few years, but it's made me a better person. It's made me a better person in the sense that I don't have to second guess myself. I don't feel like when I'm around certain people, I need to make myself feel smaller. It's a breath of fresh air. Y'all see me looking around, right? Because my back is facing the street and I don't like that. Like, I feel like somebody's going to walk up on me. So I'm always kind of like checking my surroundings. Um, but I don't want to change my position. Okay, I digress. But yes, please, please, please. If someone starts to make you feel like the best thing that you're doing for yourself is not the best thing you're doing for yourself, yeah, think about it, but don't get hung up on it. Because oftentimes people are projecting onto you. They're projecting how they feel about themselves onto you. And it is not your responsibility to fix other people. It's your responsibility to fix yourself. Now, you can guide other people, which is what I should have done, but you're not responsible for fixing them. So just keep that in mind, and let me know about a time where you felt you needed to make yourself smaller for someone else to feel better. And tell me about how that worked out. Because I know for a fact, in my situation, this shit ain't never worked out well for me. And that's the reason why I had to learn to take a new approach. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like I said, comment below and let me know about the time that you felt like you had to make yourself feel smaller. And even if you didn't intentionally do it, because you're human, right? That's just what we human beings do. And I'll see you next time for another direct dose.